check. This is Offwhyte Cinematic. This is Offwhyte Cinematic. Yo, you got to have it. Cinematic. Yo, this is Offwhyte Cinematic. Yo, you got to have it. It's cinematic. Yo, this is Offwhyte Cinematic. Yo, you got to have it. Cinematic. Yo, this is Offwhyte Cinematic. Yo, you got to have it. Ha! As I just come at you in the darkness, the sharpest. When I just put it down, I'm at the scene of the crime with no accomplice. In other words, the solo mission. I'm giving you the prescription. In other words, it's just another taste of your own medicine. Ha! All come around, back to square one as I'm abound. As I just put it down, make the rounds all across the beat, all across the street. When I just speak it, yo, it's so complete. In other words, 360 degrees. When the cypher's in the breeze, flowing with the trees, flowing amongst the birds and the bees. Yeah, in other words, I'm teaching the chemistry when I put it down on general principality for your municipality. I got the city bonds as I just put it down on your front lawn or your backyard, just here to bring it loud and thank God. Yo, I got the spiritualism when I just make sure you're a victim. Yeah, I'm on a mission from the prominent Mr. O double, just keep it dominant. And you know, I'm just always gonna come and change your climate. Yeah, cause I control the weather, Mr. O double, for the worse or better, huh? In other words, I got the realistic outlook when I just keep you shook. And I do it by the book. When I take one look, it's more like repetition when I'm just beating the competition. What's up, everyone? Yours truly, Offwhyte here. Welcome to Offwhyte Cinematic Season 2, Episode 4. And today, we will be discussing my music collection. So, take a seat, relax, sit back, but don't recline too far, because you gotta see the screen. And we're gonna have a good time today. It's gonna be a good one. So here we go. Thank you to everyone for joining us. Shoutouts to the Offwhyte Cinematic dancer, Ray Dawn. Follow her on Instagram at RayDawn1300. And if you would like to be featured dancing while I freestyle during my intro, please be 18 years or over and send me an email at ryan@menugem.com. And another reminder, we are still doing the Offwhyte Buy One Get One Free special. And the way that works is if you purchase an Offwhyte release at any of these record stores and send me the receipt at ryan@menugem.com, we'll send you a free Offwhyte release of your choice. And the stores are Vintage Vinyl in St. Louis, Amoeba Music in Berkeley, and Amoeba Music in LA. Today we'll be talking about my music collection, and we'll be looking at records, CDs, and tapes. As you know, these are relics of days past, and it's hard to believe that these items were the way I consumed music for most of my life. Most of this video will consist of CDs, and most of the video's runtime will probably be dedicated to that format. But the collection is more than just the CDs. We'll go through records, and there are many different formats of those. We'll go through cassette tapes, and we'll even talk about MP3s. These days, of course, I stream, so we'll finish the video by talking about that too. As a rap artist, my music career and the origins of my record label, Galapagos 4, are here in Illinois, and more specifically in the city of Chicago. So in these stories, if I mention Jeff Cookledge, DJ Dallas Jackson of Galapagos 4, it's because we rapped together and built a record label together. Jeff is the owner of the label
and still makes music today as DJ Dallas Jackson. Jeff first introduced me to the concept of discovering new music on your own. Back in my junior high days, Jeff and I would buy our music at the mall. Here in Springfield, Illinois, White Oaks Mall is the main mall, and at its peak in the 90s, there were 3 record stores in operation there. Sam Goody, Musicland, and an independent store called Trax. And Trax even sold vinyl. Also, in my rap performance career, I've had 2 stage DJs, DJ Dr. Jones of Jackson Jones from Galapagos 4, and DJ Dan 1 from Southern California, Galapagos 4. And some of my earliest CDs are from Columbia House and BMG music clubs. Also, I lived in Chicago from 1995 to 2005, and I lived in LA from 2005 to 2016. In Chicago, I bought music at many places including Gramophone, Tower Records, Reckless Records, and other locations such as Secondhand Tunes, Hi-Fi Records on Clark Street, Dr. Wax, multiple locations, and the Virgin Music Megastore on Michigan Avenue, which was very cool. In LA, I bought music at Amoeba in Hollywood, Aaron's in Hollywood, Fingerprints Records in Long Beach, California, and I even went to VIP Records in Long Beach, which is the record store featured in the Snoop Dogg music video, What's My Name? I also patronized Soul Sounds, which is a record store that was in downtown LA. Shouts to Mark, who taught me to make music videos. I shopped at Access Music in San Diego, Amoeba Music in San Francisco, and Amoeba Music in Berkeley, and also Pooh-Bah Records in Pasadena. I also bought CDs when Galapagos 4 was out on the road on tour. So at different points throughout my youth, I was always buying music. Just because something isn't in my physical collection doesn't mean I don't listen to it. And as I said, I will talk about MP3s and streaming. But I want to start with vinyl. I don't have much vinyl. At many times throughout my life, I've wanted to DJ very badly, so I always started to try amassing records. But in the end, it's ultimately too expensive. So the only way I ever really listened to records was on a thrift store turntable. In college and post-college, I had a $10 Salvation Army turntable, and that worked great. I recommend it for anyone interested in just listening to records. So let's get into it, my music collection. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. This is my crate of records, and the first interesting thing I'd like to point out is that the crate itself is from a store called Zaire, which is an old-school Illinois department store. And they are no longer around, but I enjoyed shopping there. There's a price tag, a Zaire price tag on the side here, and I'll overlay a photo of it here so you can see the Zaire tag. But this is my crate of records, and within my record collection you have different formats. You have singles, you have 45s, and you have the full-length LPs. So we will start with the full-size records, and we'll start with this one. And this is Songs in the Key of Life by Stevie Wonder. It's the original 1976 pressing, complete and intact. This record is special to me because it's from my family's house. It belonged to one of my older brothers. I have 2 older brothers and 1 older sister. We all grew up in central Illinois. We were all really into music. At one point, they had many classic records in our basement. They had the Rolling Stones. They had the Rolling Stones' Some Girls with the pull-out layout. They had Zeppelin, a lot of classic rock, and all of them have been stolen. And I'm not blaming anyone. I'm just saying that over the years, a lot of people were in and out of our basement. So they're all gone, except for this one. So this has kind of been the cornerstone of my music collection without me even knowing it. And it's from 1976. It's the original 1976 pressing, so it goes back for my entire life. This is another of my favorite records, and this is Ultramagnetic MC's Four Horsemen. And you can see on the price tag there, I purchased this one at Hi-Fi Records, which was a very cool record store on Clark Street in Chicago. Another one of my favorites is the Company Flow End-to-End Burners 12-inch. And this record is cool because it's got artwork from the legendary graffiti artist Phase 2. And then another reason I love this record so much is because it has this song, Crazy Kings 2, which is only on this release. Dose 1 Hemispheres, solid album. And then we get to a very special record. This is the Gang Starr Suckers Need Bodyguards 12-inch. And the way I got this record was through a DJ and b-boy named Kaz1. Kaz1 was a DJ and rapper, graph artist, and b-boy that we met in the dorms. And when Jeff and I were attending UIC, we met Kaz1, and he represented Chicago graffiti crews, DS and Cyanide. And he spun records, and at the end of his stint at UIC, he left to join the Army. And when he left, he gave away all his records. So I got this one. And the reason that I love this record so much is because of the B-side. So on the other side is The Question Remains, which is a song that had a lot of significance to me because at the time it was getting a lot of play at underground hip-hop parties. So I remember we would go to these parties in places like Wicker Park, and you would hear it as you were walking in. And I'm not exactly sure if the viewers are familiar with this song, The Question Remains, but it's got a really dark, full, heavy beat. I mean, the premiere beat is just amazing. And then Guru rapping over the beat sounds really just stone cold in his tone of voice. He's rapping to you like, it sounds like you're getting fired from your job. That's what it sounds like. But The Question Remains, really dope. So thank you, Kaz1. I've still got it. Thank you for the Gang Starr Suckers Need Bodyguards 12-inch. Speaking of Gang Starr, this one is a bootleg, actually, of Step in the Arena. And I got my roommate at the time, Barfly, to tag it up because it's really just a blank label. It's a nice copy though. The sound is on point, and it's double vinyl. But there's the TMP Crew tag. This is a record, the Modern Jazz Quartet, with Larindo Almeida. But this is a fresh record, and I got this at Amoeba in LA. Swollen Members, that's another one from Kaz1. Twist Overnight Celebrity. Michael Jackson Off the Wall. Let's Beat It. This is another one from my parents' basement. This is an 80s compilation. You can see the artists on there. J Dilla, Donuts. Stone's Throw exclusive. MF Doom, Mad Villain. Vinyl Me Please, exclusive. So you get this kind of bonus sheet on top here. But on the corner here you can see the real artwork of Mad Villainy behind. Mad Villain. Flash Gordon soundtrack. And then we get into some Filipino records. And these are cool because they feature the traditional dress and dance that I would end up doing when I would move to LA. In LA, I worked at the University of Southern California. And I mentored Filipino students through the USC Filipino Club, Troy, Philippines. And we would perform dances very similar to these, what you see here. We would have the ladies dressed like this in the front with the fans, and we would have the guys holding up the sticks as you see here. This is a dance known as Singkil, and it's a dance with Muslim origins. So when the guys would dress for the dance, they would be wearing traditional Muslim garb. And another cool thing about this record is that it has the track for Tinikling, which is probably the most used song in Filipino dance. But these records are cool because they were owned by my actual family. And so to go and actually live out those dances and perform those dances kind of brought things full circle for me, because now I actually have an understanding and a stake in what these dances are. More Filipino records. And I don't know where they purchased these, but I doubt they got them anywhere around central Illinois, because you can't really find stuff like this around here. These are some sound test records that were from my family's basement. So it's cool to have these. And since we were living in Pontiac, Illinois at the time, this is a record from the Pontiac High School music department. Christmas music, actually. And then we get into the section of my vinyl for Galapagos 4, my record label and crew. This is Typical Cats, which is a very important release for the label. Quell, Face Value. Netherworlds, Murs himself and Anachron. Anachron Night Owl. This is one of my records, Offwhyte, High Fidelity. And this is the test pressing for that. And this is my second album, The Fifth Son. There are two versions of this album. So there is the version on the left, which is the US version, and this was pressed by Galapagos 4. But then there is this version on the right, which was licensed by Agenda, a subsidiary of British electronica label Peace Frog. So it was a London label. And the difference is, on the US version here, it's just a single piece of vinyl, and we have these songs that were selected But the European version, the one pressed in London, has the full track list of the Fifth Son here. So this is a double vinyl version. So the Fifth Son import and the Fifth Son US domestic. This is test pressing for that project. This is Offwhyte Bow to the Scepter. And then this is my album Dialogue, Offwhyte Dialogue. Probably my favorite release of mine. Mediocre Leo versus Pisces Volume 1. Mediocre Leo versus Pisces Volume 2. So when I mentioned the British electronica label Peace Frog and their subsidiary Agenda that pressed the Fifth Son, this is the label, Agenda. And what they did is they also put out these compilations called Documenta. So that's this. And this is on double vinyl as well. So it's pretty cool. And these are the artists that they put on there. So this has a song with Centric IE and Offwhyte. This song was also featured on the Black Book sessions. But you can see the artists that are involved with that project. This is a DJ from Switzerland, DJ Rhythm. And this is a record that I'm on. So I have a song on this record, 30 Degrees Leo, featuring Offwhyte, as you can see there. And this label, Ish, as you can see there, Ish is a label based in Switzerland, and it's run by DJ Rhythm, who's a beat maker and producer. So it's run by DJ Rhythm and Insane Vorder, and they run a record store also in Zurich called Hum Records. These guys and their circle of friends have helped me with all 3 of my European tours. And whenever Galapagos 4 goes to Europe, Zurich is kind of like our home base. So this is Insane Vorder. This is a record from Insane Vorder, and this is DJ Rhythm. And both of these are on that label, Ish. So thank you to those 2. This is a record by Japanese artist Mantle, and I am on this record as well. The story with this is that I was doing a show in Japan, in the mountains, in a place called Gunma Province, in the mountains of Japan. And Mantle approached me during sound check and offered to pay me for recording a song right then and there. And he offered me cash. And in Japan, when someone has American currency, they almost always have just gotten it from the currency exchange there. And it's always in these crisp, new bills. So I was doing sound check, setting up, and Mantle approached me on stage and asked me to do the song and record the song, and offered me this envelope of crisp new cash. So I freestyled the song. I just set the mic up right there on stage, and I busted out the song. And he put out the vinyl record, and here it is. As far as that thing with the crisp bills, I've heard other American DJs say that before when they get paid in Japan. Here's another copy. This is another record that I'm on. This is a record from Japan, put out by a label called Try 8, and it's a split 12, where the first side is by the Chicago artist Offwhyte, and then I'm on the B side, and the B side is Offwhyte, Rappers and Chemicals, produced by Mediocre. This is a remix of one of my records. As you can see, it's got Offwhyte Complex Destiny. Woo! Offwhyte Complex Destiny remix. So thank you to Phil. Stick Figures, Galapagos 4. Lady Daisy, Galapagos 4 affiliate. Quasar, Desert Eagle. Pugsley Adams, Vandal Squad. These are cool records. This is a record from an artist called Pilot Balloon, otherwise known as K.O. Flux. So K.O. Flux is a beat maker and producer who lived in Massachusetts, and he let us stay at his house on the Destroying All Lines tour. He works closely in his music with K the I, an artist I've toured a lot with. So shouts to K.O. Flux. And then this is a record with Stacks of Stamina, who's a Swedish rap group. And those are my full-size vinyl records. And this is another format of records that we are going to take a look at, the 10-inch. And we're going to start by showing a Galapagos 4 record, Mestizo, Baby Steps. And then on the back is another record by a label called Times 13, which is a jungle label that our producer Kip Killigan is a part of. So Galapagos 4 artist Kip Killigan, and then this is a real Galapagos 4 release, Mestizo. And then going along with what I had said about Pilot Balloon, K.O. Flux, this is a record he did with Stacks of Stamina, and this record is really dope as well. So those are the 10-inch records. Now we're going to take a look at the 45s. So anyone familiar with records should know the 45 size 7-inch. And this one is a Galapagos 4 record, Quell and Jackson Jones, Blood from the Stone. So we're going to keep the Galapagos 4 theme going here and show you a Mediocre 45. This one is for Flibberty Gibbet with robust wrapping over the Mediocre track. And then the B-side is Long Dirty Word by Rift Napalm over the Mediocre track. Another Mediocre 45. Amusing ourselves to death. There you go. Featuring Imph. There's Meaty. This is a robust 45 from Galapagos 4. Yesterday's Fossil. Very cool. Cool artwork. Then we have some more Mediocre 45s. This one is Mediocre Belle of the Beast. Now, the significance of Belle of the Beast is, when Galapagos 4 was on tour in Europe, because of the ordering of the lineup, a lot of times it was this song that would go on before I would do my set. So when I hear this song, it reminds me of the adrenaline rush that I used to get performing out there in Europe with these guys, because this would always get thrown on between sets. So, and it sounds great on a big system. And then the B-side is a Dreas song. So these were done by Hear Drums Records, and this one is Lift Your Load, Mediocre, and Growing Home, Dreas. So those are cool, very cool. And here's another Dreas record, Dreas Dranot, very cool with the nice cardboard slip. And then we have something, well, here we're going to finish off, we're going to finish off with the Galapagos 4 Friends affiliates. This one is Gilead 7. He's not Galapagos 4, but he's from Chicago. So this is his release there, 45. And then this record is a Gel and 2Mex record, but this was pressed by our friends in Switzerland. So when I was telling you about that kind of circle of people that helped us out before, one of those people, Goran, Gorgor the Ill, pressed this record. He worked with 2Mex and Gel to put this one out. And what's special about this is it's a real European record. This was actually pressed in Eastern Europe. So that's Goran's label, Quiet. And it looks like that this was done in conjunction with another label, and then these are numbered. So this one is 390. And it's special because the vinyl to this is quite thick. I mean, it's thicker than US vinyl. So this is the European vinyl. I don't know if it comes across on camera, but just holding it, this is heavier than a regular 45. So there's the Quiet Records logo. Dope release by our friends in Zurich. So that would be kind of the collection of 45s from artists with which I am affiliated. And now we're just going to get into 45s that I have in general. So here's one of my favorites. This would be Cruel Summer, Bananarama. Really dope. And then there's a remix, the B-side. When this spins on 45, it sounds kind of cool. I also have an MP3 of this, but of course it's cool to hear the vinyl. And then we have this is a jazz record, Cannonball Adderley. Purchased this one at Amoeba. And then we have a cool song. This is Bobby Brown on Our Own from the Ghostbusters 2 soundtrack. This is a fresh song. I love this song. Good track, good melody. Oh gosh, just thinking about that song makes you feel good. Alright, then we have Prince, Sign of the Times, where he is, you know, there you go. I think, is this backed with, okay, yeah, La 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 He He He, so there's another song on there. But that's kind of cool to have it with the cover art. And Sign of the Times is a good song. In my rap career, I've had different DJs backing me. And when I moved to California, my DJ there for stage shows was DJ Dan One. And we would go to Amoeba often to dig for records. And because he's a big vinyl reggae aficionado, he would always end up in the reggae section. So these are some 45s from reggae artists that we'll just kind of go through here. And it's a Sizzler record. Sizzler. There you go. So that, altogether, are my 45s. The next format I want to draw attention to is the tapes format. And these are my tapes. They're stored here in this TDK case. And we won't spend too much time dwelling on tapes because I don't have that many of them. But we'll look at the ones I do have. This first one is NWA. This is their third full-length album. And I purchased this at Virgin Music Megastore in Chicago on Michigan Avenue. From what I remember, it was a very large store. I want to say it was 3 floors, and it had music and movies, and it was open until late night every night, and they had a very wide selection and very affordable prices too. So although that store is no longer around, it was a lot of fun to go to. And I had this tape. I picked up this tape there too, Fleetwood Mac, Rumors. And Fleetwood Mac is one of my all-time favorite bands. So shouts to Virgin Megastore for setting up shop during the time that they did. I had a lot of fun going there. I have some cassette singles. This first one is a Ben Harper one, but the ones that are special to me are the other ones. These next few cassette singles I'd like to draw attention to because I purchased these at White Oaks Mall here in Springfield, Illinois. This first one is Terminator X, and it was the B-side I was interested in here because this song, Buck Wildin', was really dope. And that was before the full-length album came out. This tape is cool. Souls of Mischief, Never No More, cassette single. And the reason that this is so interesting is because of the B-side. There is a track, the Make Your Mind Up remix, on the B-side. Now, for Souls of Mischief, Make Your Mind Up is one of their most popular songs. And on the B-side here, the Make Your Mind Up remix, A+ raps his verse with a completely different cadence than on the Make Your Mind Up original. And it's the same lyrics to the song, but he just rocks them in a different way, which I always thought was very cool, because a lot of rappers just don't even, I mean, I've never really heard, at this point I had never heard anyone do that, so that's pretty cool. Make Your Mind Up remix. And this is the Camp Lo Lucchini single, Nuff Said, and I always dug the B-side to that, which is Swing, featuring Butterfly. And to wrap it up, we have the Janet Jackson Rhythm Nation single. And when this dropped, I was a big fan of this album. The production, Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis, and her dance numbers in this were on point. Had some good singles, the Rhythm Nation album. But anyway, the rest of these tapes were really used for my 4-track recordings. So these were actually used for my early rap music. But that's basically it. Those are basically the tapes I have in my collection. And now we are going to talk about CDs. I have my CDs stored in these plastic bins, and they are very handy because they're easily stored away. So let's take a look. And I have 6 of these bins total. So this is the first one, and the majority of my music collection is CDs, so it's worth discussing here about the history of my CDs. I bought CDs from about 1987 to 2014. This collection has been through a lot. Some of these don't even have covers. You have to remember, when CDs were at their peak, they were actually the media used to play the music. So these have been in and out of cars, in and out of so many apartments. At one point, I lived in a loft with 6 other roommates in Chicago. So these CDs, especially the early ones, have been in living rooms, bedrooms, cars, computers. They have been stolen, lost, bought, rebought, broken, left places, borrowed. So these are all representative of my life. And that's why telling this story is so cool. The order these will be presented in is as follows: mainstream hip-hop, underground hip-hop, and we'll divide that between underground hip-hop, that is Galapagos 4, and regular underground hip-hop, modern to classic R&B, soul, and funk, rock, blues, jazz, reggae, world, musicals and classical, and EDM. So let's go ahead and get into it. Public Enemy, Yo Bum Rush the Show. Public Enemy, It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back. I'm going to go ahead and put this one to the side because it's very special. As you can see, it's a stained up copy, and that's because this is my original CD back from the 80s. Public Enemy, Fear of a Black Planet. Apocalypse 91, Enemy Strikes Black. Greatest Misses from Amoeba. Brother's Gonna Work It Out maxi single. It's got Branford Marsalis playing on here. Pretty cool. Terminator X and the Valley of the Jeep Beats. And then we get into my BDP collection. So this is Criminal Minded, and this is the re-release that Traffic put out. And I purchased this because I didn't have an official copy of Criminal Minded, and there are some instrumentals on here. Actually, all the instrumentals are on here. And I wanted to use the drums for my own beats. So we'll take a look at this. You get your booklet here. There are 3 discs. There are 3 discs. The album, instrumentals, and I think B-sides. And there's a poster. Might as well take a look. Pretty cool. I interviewed KRS-One when I was in college. So I got to sit with him for about an hour. I interviewed KRS-One for the UIC Flame. But anyway, there's Criminal Minded. By all means necessary. Ghetto Music, Blueprint of Hip Hop. Edutainment. Live Hardcore Worldwide. Sex and Violence. Return of the Boom Bap, KRS-One. And then we get into the Run DMC. So when it comes to Run DMC, this is another one from Amoeba. When it comes to Run DMC, I have a lot of family in New York. When my mom's side of the family immigrated to the United States, they settled in the area of Elmhurst, Queens. It's an area with a high concentration of Filipinos. So I would go visit New York City very often as a child. And my first encounter with rap music was there in New York. And a very early memory for me was when I was visiting with my cousins in Queens. And it was at my aunt and uncle's house, and I was hanging out with my cousin Chris. And I remember sitting on the bed with him. He had a bunk bed, and he rapped the first few bars of Run DMC, Sucker MCs. He rapped DMC's verse, the I'm DMC in the place to be, I go to St. John's University, that verse. And I also remember him showing off the Adidas shoes he had, and you know, that was just what was in fashion at the time. So that really struck me. When I heard my cousin rap those bars, it was the first time I had ever heard language wielded like that, and I could sense the power in rap. But anyway, when it comes to Queens, artists like Run DMC, Nas, LL Cool J, these are artists whose music really resonates with me. So, yeah, my Run DMC collection includes Run DMC, King of Rock, which this one is also from Amoeba. And the CDs here are re-releases. And as a matter of fact, this particular release has the Slow and Low song. Now this ended up being a Beastie Boys song, but Run DMC wrote it. I think they wrote it for the Beastie Boys. But this version on here is Run DMC actually performing Slow and Low. And it's a demo version. It's really dope. So this is cool. Yeah, these are re-releases. Rockbox, pardon me, Run DMC has, you know, some bonuses too. And this is a re-release too, Raising Hell. I remember when I was young, Peter Piper was just a song I would hit rewind on. Tougher Than Leather. And Down with the King. LL Cool J Radio. Bad, Bigger and Deffer. Walking with a Panther. Mama Said Knock You Out. 14 Shots to the Dome. Nas Illmatic. This is I think 10-year anniversary edition. Nas, It Was Written. Godson. Stillmatic. Hip Hop Is Dead. Lost Tapes. Ultramagnetic MC's Critical Beatdown. Ultramagnetic MC's Funk Your Head Up. Classic album. Four Horsemen, also purchased from Amoeba. New York What Is Funky. Basement Tapes. Tim Dog, Penicillin on Wax. Jay-Z, Volume 1. Now I had Reasonable Doubt. I had Jay-Z's first album, but it got pickpocketed from me in Paris on the subway. Volume 2, Hard Knock Life. As you can see by this sticker, this is another CD I bought at Hi-Fi Records on Clark Street in Chicago. And I was really psyched when I purchased this because it has Can I Get A, which is a dope song, and the song with Foxy Brown is dope too. Volume 3. I remember visiting my cousins in New York during this period of time, and you couldn't get away from this. Rock La Familia. Couldn't get away from that either. Best of Both Worlds. Blueprint. Fresh cover. Back. Blueprint 2. Another Amoeba purchase. Another dope cover. Black Album. Jay-Z, the Black Album. It's all black. As a matter of fact, let's take a look. Alright, so the whole thing is just black, matte. Nothing, no label. Nothing. Here's your Rockefeller. And let's look at the This is a good album. American Gangster. Magna Carta, Holy Grail. This one was alright. I like the song with Rick Ross on here. Kanye West, College Dropout. Amoeba purchase. Late Registration. Graduation. So I was in LA when all these came out. but it was cool to see Kanye really take over the musical landscape. And I remember hanging out with my girlfriend and showing her this when I got back from the record store. And yeah, so this is my beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and I remember we unwrapped it together, and she was laughing about how pretentious he came across. But I mean, this is my favorite. I mean, it's pretty inarguably an incredible album. Yeah, so you had the ballerina. Yeah. And the artwork here is dope too. So the alternatives. I always thought that one was really well done. And then it's just gold on the back. So there's the beautiful Dark Twisted. "808s and Heartbreak." I remember when this came out, the first song I heard on here was when he performed at the VMAs. And I remember when he hit the stage and started singing, I was like, what is going on with this? And I was totally turned off by it. But this is really what changed everything. This is what brought, I mean, there was auto-tune before this. And there was singing and rap before this. But this is what set everything in motion to the sound that we have today. Jesus. This was also kind of cool. A lot of people did not like this. I like this album. And then we have, of course, Watch the Throne. And this was another one that I unboxed with my girlfriend out in LA. And she had a strong reaction to this too. Because, I mean, this was larger than life. When this dropped, it was a pretty big deal. And this is nice and embossed. Everything here is embossed. Everything, even the back. Even the barcode is nice. But yeah, I remember when this came out. The Otis video, dope video. And yeah, I was excited to get this. I bumped this in my ride forever. So the whole motif here was kind of like high class rap, luxury, rap, like kind of like uncommon, unordinary rap. But this cover is outstanding. I'd never seen anything like this. So yeah, there's Watch the Throne. I love this album. It's got the feeling of a mixtape. You know, it's not too overthought. Yeah, a lot of fun. Watch the Throne. And then we have the Cruel Summer. And this one isn't as... So I remember going to Best Buy to pick this one up, and this has got this thick packaging here too. But this one doesn't fold out or anything like that. It's just kind of... It's a box, but the disc, it just kind of slides out of there. I mean, really, this doesn't... You know, you can see I tried to I tried to open this and I just damaged it. So I don't know what's up with this. But this is a good compilation, The Cruel Summer. And yeah, we'll take a look, because this is the good music lineup, or at least that at that time. Cruel Summer. So yeah, that's the Kanye West part of my collection. NWA and the Posse. Let's move on to West Coast. Straight Outta Compton. Re-release. I used some of these beats for my live set. I used the Express Yourself extended mix. Bonus beats, because those drums are really banging. 100 Miles and Running. It's just a 5-song EP, but that was really big when it came out. Eazy-E, Easy Does It. Ice Cube, America's Most Wanted. Dr. Dre, The Chronic. Snoop Dogg, Doggy Style. Snoop Dogg, Murder Was the Case, single. This had some really good remixes and a good Dog Pound song. I think it's called What Would You Do? That's a good song. Snoop Dogg, Blue Carpet Treatment. Ice-T, Rhyme Pays. Ice-T, Iceberg. Ice-T, OG, Original Gangster. I Need to Get Power. Beastie Boys, License to Ill. Def Jam, classic. Beastie Boys, Paul's Boutique, 20th Anniversary Edition from Amoeba, as you can see there, and I think this has some extra tracks too. Beastie Boys, Check Your Head, also from Amoeba. Beastie Boys, Ill Communication. This is also a deluxe edition. I always thought that cover was really dope, and I always thought the back was really dope too. For this album, you can kind of get a sense of what it was like to be in the studio. I don't know. album was very influential for me. I used to sit on my bed and listen to the instrumentals. Namely, which one was it? Was it Shambhala or Sabrosa? One of those two. It's just so mesmerizing. Some of the Beastie Boys' best work were the instrumentals. The ones where they just play. And the ones on here, the one I'm thinking of is either Sabrosa or Shambhala. But anyway, I love this album. That's why I bought the deluxe edition. This is The Roots. This was their first album before they got a major record deal. This is Organics. And this is the true independent pressing of it, because as you can see there, that's the label. And I purchased this at Gramophone Records in Chicago. So this was before The Roots dropped on the major label, on Geffen. And I shelled out a lot of money for this. But I wanted to listen to the songs on here, because they had some really good songs on there. And then a couple months later, this dropped. So this is Do You Want More? And when I was in college, this is what it was all about. The sound of this record, very influential. And this is a single for The Roots, Proceed 2, which was a song on this compilation, Stolen Moments. So that's why I have these packed together. And as we go on with The Roots, we have Illadelph Half-Life, Things Fall Apart, Church Cover. This album is so dope. The first, oh my gosh, is the track listing on here? Okay. This one, the intro, dope. Okay. Table of contents, dope. Black Thought rips that on there. Next movement, ridiculous. That's some Raise the Roof action. Step Into the Realm, ridiculous. Yeah, anyway, the song with Mos Def, Double Trouble, oh my gosh, that's some good stuff there. So, shout out to The Roots. Game Theory, Bahamadia. Oop. So that's the first bin number 1. This is the second bin, and we are still exploring the genre of mainstream hip-hop. DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. He's the DJ, I'm the rapper. DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, Rock the House. Eric B. and Rakim, Paid in Full. Tribe Called Quest, People's Instinctive Travels and the Paths of Rhythm. From Amoeba. Low End Theory. Midnight Marauders. Beats, Rhymes, and Life, and this was the actual copy that I purchased when this album came out in 1996. And as you can see, the lenticular, if you can see it move, So, lenticular cover. And we got it from here. Thank you for your service. De La Soul, 3 Feet High and Rising. De La Soul is dead. Balloon Mind State. This album is very special to me. It's got some of my favorite songs from that era. I Am I.B. and oh man, there's a lot of good ones. Patty Duke, Ego Trippin', it's so dope. I Am I.B. was such an influential track. So smooth. Black Sheep, Wolf in Sheep's Clothing. And Jeff and I met Black Sheep at the Illinois State University concert they did. So there you have Drez and Mr. Long. Their autographs on there. This is the Tri-Counting Sheep single. And this might look strange, but it is legit. There's the Mercury record label logo. But these guys were really cool. And then we get into EPMD. And this is the re-release, so it says Snoop Dogg, but it's EPMD, Strictly Business. The album is the same. And EPMD, they're from Long Island. And I have family on Long Island. And Public Enemy's from Long Island too. Business as Usual. Sorry, that last one was Unfinished Business. And then this next one is Business Never Personal. So this is the one with Crossover. Yeah, I'm a big EPMD fan. Redman. What? The album. There is a Dark Side. Das FX, Dead Serious. Purchased from Amoeba. Eric Sermon, No Pressure. This is a dope album too. Diggable Planets. Reachin', a new refutation of time and space. Blowout Comb. Jeff and I would meet Diggable Planets in concert too, at Tinley Park. This is the Cool Like That single. Rebirth of Slick single. Diggable Planet's Ninth Wonder single. This track was dope. They really flipped the script with this. When this track dropped, it was like, whoa. This has acapellas and stuff on it. Dial 7 single. With the original version of Graffiti. That does not feature J-Roo. Features one of their homies. And the interview. Diggable Planets interview. Where I'm From single, and this remix of Where I'm From. The first one there. It's a good one. Okay, and then we have Mobb Deep the Infamous. And I'm very happy to have this because this is the original CD that I purchased from Musicland back in the day. And it survived this whole time. And there's nothing super unique about the version here. I just want to crack it open to show you the inside. And as I said, my family's from Queens, so of course I'm proud to be a Mobb Deep supporter. But there's something about the way this album comes together. I mean, of course, people that know about the sound, and you could go on all day about that. I mean, there are not that many albums that are better than this album. But the graphic design is just so on point. I mean, they had it, you know, there's the logo. And the coloring in this photo, and just the way it comes off. And then the back matches. And it just gives you a sense of the way things were in rap music at the time. You know, that East Coast mentality. But every song on here is really, really dope. And the way this album is mastered, oh my gosh. It sounds so good in the car, and yeah, Mobb Deep the Infamous. I'm a fan. There is Hell on Earth. And then we get into the Woo. So there's the 36. Enter the Wu-Tang 36 chambers. Wu-Tang Forever, double CD with the enhanced CD. Good songs on there. Tikal, Method Man Tikal. Old Dirty Bastard, Return to the 36. Jizza, Liquid Swords. Raekwon, Only Built for Cuban Links. So I just want to say that these four, which I guess you could call these the four first generation solo records from Wu-Tang members. So you would have I mean, we're talking about Method Man, Old Dirty Bastard, Jizza, and Raekwon. When these dropped, this was an important time in music. And these albums, to me, represent a reimagining of music and a reimagining of what rap could be. And it was a lot of fun to experience this time in music. So yeah, shouts to the Wu, Raekwon Mobility, Cuban Links 2, Gravediggers, 6 Feet Deep, RZA as Bobby Digital, Jizza, DJ Muggs, Grandmasters, Adrian Young, and Ghostface Killah, 12 Reasons to Die. This came with a comic book that I still have. Puff Daddy and the Family. No Way Out. So, of course, this has the you know, that one. It's all about the Benjamins. Remix. Notorious B.I.G. Ready to Die. This came out when I was in college. Life After Death. Mace, Harlem World. P. Diddy, we invented their remix. Naughty by Nature. Self-titled Naughty by Nature. This is not the one with Uptown Anthem. So some versions of this album had Uptown Anthem. But Uptown Anthem is my favorite Naughty by Nature song. And then their second album, 1993, this is really dope, in my opinion. There's some good songs on here. Black Moon, Enter the Stage, Master Ace Incorporated, Slaughterhouse, Lords of the Underground, Here Come the Lords, Artifacts, Between a Rock and a Hard Place, Fuji's The Score, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, Crisscross Totally Crossed Out, MC Hammer, Let's Get It Started. Tupacalypse Now. Tupac, Strictly for My Ends. Cypress Hill. Cypress Hill, Black Sunday. This was purchased at Aaron's in Hollywood. House of Pain, self-titled. Outcast, Southern Playalistic Cadillac Music. A.T. Aliens. Aquemini. Big Boy, Sir Lucius Leftfoot, The Legend of Chico Dusty. Del the Funky Homo Sapien, No Need for Alarm. Both Sides of the Brain. Souls of Mischief, 93 Till Infinity. E40, My Ghetto Report Card. I purchased this at a record store called Soul Sounds in downtown LA. Shout outs to Mark. Eminem, Slim Shady EP, pardon me, Slim Shady LP. This was already by the time Dre had signed him. The Eminem Show. Relapse Refill. Eminem and Royce, Bad Meets Evil. Eminem and Royce, Bad Meets Evil single. Yellow Wolf's Trunk Music 0 to 60. Diamond D and the Psychotic Neurotics. Stunts, Blunts, and Hip Hop. Beatnuts, Intoxicated Demons. Beatnuts, self-titled. This album is so dope. This was a big album for Jeff and myself when we were in college. We used to rock this this album all the time. Shouts to the Beatnuts. X-Clan, To the East Blackwards. X-Clan Exodus. Pete Rock, Pete's Instrumentals. This is a dope album. Prince Paul, A Prince Among Thieves. I want to say I had Pete Rock and CL Smooth, Mecca and the Soul Brother, but it was stolen. So it's not like I don't like Pete Rock. Anyway, that's bin number 2. And here we have bin 3. And we are still exploring the genre of mainstream hip-hop. But in this bin, we will switch over to Galapagos 4 music as well. But right now, we have Gangstar, No More Mr. Nice Guy, Gangstar, Step in the Arena, Daily Operation, Hard to Earn. This is my favorite Gangstar album and favorite cover. The cover is so hard and it matches the music. I remember when this dropped, I was a junior in high school, and the songs on here are really good. Guru's Jazzmatazz, Volume 2. I don't know why I have two. Jeru the Damager, purchased at Amoeba. Wrath of the Math. Derelicts of Dialect, 3rd base. Brand New Heavies, Heavy Rhyme Experience Volume 1. Curious, Constipated Monkey. MF Doom, Operation Doomsday. MF Doom, Food. Slick Rick, The Art of Storytelling. Digital Underground, Sex Packets. Boss, Born Gangsters, another Amoeba purchase. J Dilla, Donuts. The Coup, Kill My Landlord. Steal This Album. AMG, Better Have My Money. Common, Resurrection, and this is the early CD, so it says Common Sense, Resurrection, so that's before he had to change his name because of the trademark. Common, One Day It'll All Make Sense. When this dropped, it was good times in Chicago. Like Water for Chocolate. This album is also very dope. The sound on this is like that sour sound. So dope. The intro, the one with Questlove playing drums, Time Traveling, oh my gosh. And then Heat, and then Cold Blooded. Heat is really dope. I think it's produced by Dilla. This is such a good album. Shouts to Calm. Fighting Forever and Uncommon Classics, which is a mixtape put together by DJ Risky Business. And the reason I got this is because it has a lot of B-side songs that I enjoyed listening to. So there's the track list. Twista, Adrenaline Rush. Twista, Kamikaze. Twista, The Day After. Twista, Ripping It Up. And this is a bootleg, but it has all these songs that I wanted. Twista, Resurrection. Another bootleg, but I couldn't get this any other way. And the sound on these is good. So, DJ Benzi and Twista, Blackout. Rhymefest, Blue Collar. Lupe Fiasco's Food and Liquor. 50 Cent, Get Rich or Die Trying. G-Unit, Beg for Mercy. The Neptunes present Clones. Comes with a DVD. Pusha T, My Name Is My Name. Pharrell Williams, GIRL. Clips, we got the remix, DJ Benzi. 3-6 Mafia Choices, purchased at Amoeba. Project Pat, Mr. Don't Play. Ludacris, back for the first time. Ludacris, Word of Mouth. Word of Mouth. I like this song. The singles on this are very strong. Roll Out. When Roll Out dropped, that was a good time. So shouts to Luda. Lil Wayne the Carter. Lil Wayne the Carter 2. That song, Mo Fire. That is a good song. Lil Louisiana mixtape. This is a fresh mixtape. Kendrick Lamar, Good Kid, Mad City. Deluxe version, I believe. Kendrick Lamar, To Pimp a Butterfly. Drake, Nothing Was the Same. Drake, Trophies. It's a bootleg, but at the time, it was the only way to get these songs. Frank Ocean, Channel Orange. From Streetlight Records, up in NorCal. Earl Sweatshirt. Earl. Nicki Minaj, Roman Reloaded. And then I have these compilations of old school hip hop. This one's from Amoeba. And I bought these because they have such songs as Rapper's Delight, The Message, and so forth. So there are 3 volumes of these, part 2 and part 4. But there's some cool songs on these. And I am old enough to remember when these songs first came out. DJ Benzi, Summer Madness. Alright, so that covers all the mainstream hip-hop CDs. And what we're going to get into now, starting with this row right here, are Galapagos 4 releases. Right now we're going to get into underground hip-hop, and to make it easier, I organized all Galapagos 4 related releases first. So we'll get into those here. This is the first Galapagos 4 release. It's a compilation called the Black Book Sessions. This is my first album, Squints by Offwhyte, which dropped in 2000. This is my second album, The Fifth Son, and this is the album that was licensed to the London label Peace Frog. This is an EP of mine, Offwhyte, Bow to the Scepter. This is my third full-length album entitled Mainstay. I recorded half of this in Chicago and half of this in LA. This is my album called Dialogue, which dropped in 2016, and it is my dedication to Los Angeles. I conceived, wrote, and recorded all the songs in Los Angeles. This is Both Sides of the Mississippi, my latest album, and this dropped in 2018. Moving on, we have Typical Cats, Civil Service, 3. This is Quell. This was his first kind of, I guess you could say this was a precursor to mixtape kind of release. But it was just a limited edition run before his first real album dropped. Close But No Cigar. So there's the track list. When this came out, it was a very exciting time. And this is Quell's first album. If it ain't been in a pawn shop, then it can't play the blues. The Rubber Ducky Experiment, Dark Day, Freezer Burner, Quell and Maker, So Be It, Quell and Kip Gilligan, The New Wine, Quell, Pete My EP, Quell and Maker, Owl, Quell and Mike Gow, Caffeine Dream, Quell and Maker, Beautiful Raw. Shoutouts to Quell. Denizen Kane, Tree City Legends Volume 2, My Bootleg Life. Quasar, Bat Meets Blaine. Quasar and Bat Sauce, Bat Meets Blaine. Outer Limits, Wrong Actions for Right Reasons. I got this CD when I met Outer Limits in person at WHPK. They had invited the Outer Limits crew and Denizen Kane and myself and Denizen's younger brother, Last Child, to rap. So we met in the studio. So that's when I first met Quay and Hell Sent, and I believe, well, there were a lot of people there, and it was a good time. We all rapped together, actually. Outer Limits, Suicide Prevention. This is an Outer Limits release that Quasar gave me after a concert, and this has exclusive material. I don't know what this is. I mean, I don't know the title, but it's dope. Hell Sent, Rainwater. Hell Sent, False Prophet. Mestizo, Lifelike Movie. Mestizo and Mike Gow, Blind Faith. Mestizo, Dream State. Himself, Providence, Plays No Favorites. Anacron, Who's Who. Anacron and Aoka, the AA meeting. This is, well, this was a release that Anacron just made himself. But I'm on here, actually. I have a track on there. Stick Figures, Galapagos 4 release. And that is bin number 3. And shoutouts to all my Galapagos 4 brethren. So here we are going to continue with the genre of underground hip-hop. And this is bin number 4. And we are still in the subgenre of Galapagos 4. Mediocre, Leo vs. Pisces. Galapagos 4, The Submerged State Tour. Galapagos 4, The Submerged State Tour 2.1. Galapagos 4, the Destroying All Lions Tour. Galapagos 4, Laced. Jackson Jones, Exquisite Corpse. Jackson Jones, The Exclusive. Galapagos 4, Black Rain Tour CD. This was for Quell and my tour in Japan. Galapagos 4, 10th Anniversary. And there are 2 of those. Mediocre, Meaty's Adventures. Mediocre. At best. At his best. At best. I don't know what that's called. Anyway. Mediocre has sold beats to, sold records. Mediocre has sold records to Just Blaze and Q-Tip. Royce, Tough Love. DJ White Lightning presents White on White Crime. Galapagos 4 Christmas Bonus. Butcher Shop Quartet, The Rite of Spring. Necrobats Always. Centric IE, in other words. Centric IE, I.E. Dreos, The Long Day's End. JS, theme music for Transformed Humans. Max of the Blue. Max of the Blue, Volume 2. DJ Reason. Documenta. This is the London label that I was speaking about that licensed my music. And that finishes up the Galapagos 4 section of underground hip-hop. Alright, so we've completed the subsection of Galapagos 4 related independent hip-hop. And now we're going to move on to the broader spectrum of independent hip-hop. And we're going to start with this classic, Company Flow Fun Crusher Plus. And this was another Amoeba acquisition. And I do have doubles of this CD. I thought this one had gone missing, so I picked it up again. And then this turned back up again, so I have 2. But that's alright, because this one is actually pretty beaten up, so it's good that I replaced it. This was a very influential album for me. Big Just, Loon TNS. LP, We're All Going to Burn, Volume 3. Big Just, Black Mamba Serums. Aesop Rock, Labor Days. Cannibal Ox, The Cold Vein. Juggernauts, Clear Blue Skies, re-release. Juggernauts, Use Your Confusion, The Lenticular. Saya and Yeshua the Poet, The Visuals Anthology. This is a spectacular album and one that was very influential on me in the late 90s. The only regret I have about this is that they didn't put the song The Norm on here, but their music is dope. Of course, the rest of the album is classic. DJ Crush, Myso. So the Roots remix on here, the Myso remix, this is one of the songs that got me into rapping. Dr. Octagon, another Amoeba purchase, and this is significant because it's the original release with Biology 101, and subsequent releases did not have that song. Masters of Illusion, which is Master Kurt, Kool Keith, and Motion Man. T-Love, Return of the B-Girl. Freestyle Fellowship, To Whom It May Concern. Freestyle Fellowship, Inner City Griots. Shaka Doom. AC Alone, Book of Human Language. This is a really dope album. Abstract Tribe Unique, South Central Think Tank. Industry Records presents Beats and Lyrics compilation. This is a dope compilation. It's the first time I ever heard Living Legends. The Grouch, F the Dumb. Grouch and Eli, GNE Music Volume 1. Righteous Brothers Project, and this is a group consisting of Murs and Basic. Atmosphere Overcast. Atmosphere Headshot 7. God Loves Ugly. You can't imagine how much fun we're having. Southsiders. Saphir Boxcar Sessions, another Amoeba pickup. Saphir Trigonometry. Saphir The Hit List. All of those Saphir albums are really dope. Deep Puddle Dynamics. Dose 1 Slow Death. Cloud Dead. Gel Greenball. Alias Bits and Pieces. 6-2 Duration. K the I, My Broken Love Letter. Vile, I Think They Like Hoodtronics. Teebs Collections 1. Pretty sick. Teebs Ardor. The Opus Breathing Lessons. The Opus First Contact 1. Lord 360, The Anomaly LP. Talent Fest. This is an old school Chicago hip hop compilation. Mole Men Chicago City Limits. I have a song on here. Conjugation of a Woman's Name. Offwhyte. Gravel Records, The Chicago Project. Tomorrow Kings. Sketch 185. Graymaker. Jake 1. White Van Music. Crop Circles 720. Southpaw Chop. This is a Japanese artist. This should go back here, but that's alright. Kwangu. I don't know if you all know Kwangu, but he goes by Stevie Weeby. He's also part of Dave Choi's band, but this is one of his albums. Two Turtles and a Beta Fish. Another one, Ladder. And this is Kwangu's other group, Noble Hops. Kwangu is Bobby Lee's younger brother. He goes by Stevie Weeby. He's got a very popular podcast. Lyric District. AC, the program director. This is a DJ in LA that really supported me. And the CD behind here is another AC, the program director mixtape. Elephant Beach. This is Taiwan. Shouts to Tai. Old English from San Diego. Knox Black from Springfield, Illinois. So now we're going to get into a subcategory, international independent hip hop. This is a group called Doxa that we toured with when Galapagos 4 was touring Europe, and they have very good music. So shouts to Doxa. This is some more French rap. This is some Swiss rap, Gelden and BitTuner. Shouts to Gelden and BitTuner. And now we're going to get into Japanese hip hop, Japanese artists that I met over there in Japan. So here's one, M. Takara, DJ Toza 1. This is a CD from Mantle. Miso. This is Nadsroik. This is produced by KK, who does some work with me. There are some other producers on here as well. There's KK's track. She raps in English. This is actually a really dope album. Speaking of KK, we have a number of his releases here. There's one, another one, another one. And in Japan, they have these extra... So in Japan, they put out CDs, and then they have all this extra... It's like a whole extra card for information. And when you purchase these overlap the spine. But since I've opened these, you know, I just stuck it. And these are, if you look at this Teebs one, this Teebs has it too. So in Japan, they really go hard on the explanations, and they really go overboard with trying to help you understand what it is you're purchasing. And that's what they did with our music there too. Just kind of a different way of doing things. Here's another KK. This is KK's monthly night Mo Fun. This is Rumi, who is a very popular artist over there in Japan, and we did some shows together for our first Japanese tour. And I'll be honest with you, I can't even read this, so I don't know who that is. But it's an artist over there in Japan, and this is a Filipino artist named Glock 9. He raps in Tagalog, and I purchased this CD when I was in the Philippines in Manila. He's dope. Shouts to Glock 9. And that wraps up underground hip hop. So this has been 5 out of 6 for the CDs. And now we're going to get into some different genres. Modern to classic, R&B, soul, and funk, and rock. That's what's in this one. Prince, and this is another Amoeba pickup. More Prince. Prince Controversy, another Amoeba pickup. Prince Sign of the Times. Prince Purple Rain. Prince Under the Cherry Moon, Prince Graffiti Bridge, Prince Diamonds and Pearls with that holographic image. Prince, The Hits, Volume 1. Prince, The Hits 2. Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5, Compact Command Performances. Michael Jackson Off the Wall. Thriller. Bad. Dangerous. Invincible. History. Jamiroquai, Emergency on Planet Earth. Jamiroquai, Return of the Space Cowboy. Jamiroquai, Traveling Without Moving. Al Green, I'm Still in Love with You. Green is Blues. George Michael Faith. Alicia Keys, The Diary of Alicia Keys. Sade, Promise. Justin Timberlake, Justified. Future Sex Love Sounds. Roy Ayers, Evolution. D'Angelo, Brown Sugar. Voodoo. Black Messiah. Janet Jackson, Rhythm Nation, 1814. Belle Biv DeVoe, Poison. WBBD. Boyz II Men, Cooley High Harmony. Jodeci, Forever My Lady. Shy, If I Ever Fall in Love. The Weeknd Trilogy. Let's take a look at this. So I bought these used. So I like the minimalist industrial design. There's just this puff there, and the CDs just pop in. I think he just uploaded all this to YouTube. If you don't know about the early Weeknd material, it's some good music. Jill Scott, who is Jill Scott? Another Amoeba acquisition. Angie Stone Black Diamond from Amoeba. Mahogany Soul. The Crooklyn soundtrack. Bobby Brown, Don't Be Cruel. Paula Abdul, Forever Your Girl. And then we get into a record label I'm a big fan of, a Chicago label called Numero. Now this is a reissue label, but they do releases that people haven't, that haven't really gotten their proper shine, I'll say. So everything I pick up from them, I really like. And this one is called Camino del Sol. Antenna, Camino del Sol. And it's led by Isabella Antenna. So if you look up Isabella Antenna, she's got a lot of good solo material. And then this is a group. I think they just recorded this in one weekend or something like that, but there's some good music on there. This is another Numero release entitled Good God, Born Again Funk. So this is kind of like Christian funk bands, and there are some good songs on here too. I like it because they take the time to preserve the essence of the original recordings, and of course the masters are always on point. It seems like these guys don't really mess around, the Numero guys. I've read articles about them, and they seem like very hardworking individuals. And this is a soundtrack to a movie called Brother Man. The Great Gatsby soundtrack. Milli Vanilli, Girl You Know It's True. NERD, Seeing Sounds. NERD, Nothing. NERD, Fly or Die. So now we've completed the modern to classic R&B, soul, and funk. And now we're going to get into rock. Black Sabbath, Nirvana Bleach, Nirvana Nevermind, Unplugged in New York, Bon Jovi Slippery When Wet, 15-year anniversary reissue, New Jersey, Def Leppard Hysteria, Aerosmith Pump, Pearl Jam 10, Elastica, self-titled, Tortoise Standards, Ween Pure Guava, Stereolab Dots and Loops, Luscious Jackson, Natural Ingredients, The Cure, Staring at the Sea, the singles, The Cure, The Head on the Door, The Cure, Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me, The Sugar Cubes, Life's Too Good, The Sugar Cubes, Stick Around for Joy, Bjork, Debut, Post, Deluxe Edition. Let's take a look at this. I'm a pretty big Bjork fan. So the story with this is we were on tour and I saw this. We were in Brighton, and of course I had seen this album before, but I had not seen this deluxe version. So we were in Brighton in the shopping area called The Lanes, where they have a lot of shopping, and they had a music store, and we popped in and I saw this, and I knew I wanted to buy it, but everything in England is expensive because of the currency rate. I think it's better now, but at the time this would have cost me about twice as much as it did. So I just waited, and I came back to the States and bought it here on Amazon. I still think it was kind of pricey, but that's alright. This album was very influential, and Björk was very influential to music as a whole, and just attitudes in pop culture in general. She has a very strong voice, and a lot of people, at least when she first came out, a lot of people listened to what she had to say. And speaking of Björk, this one is her performance in Chicago. So I have a friend that recorded this concert, which was at the Civic Opera House, and I attended this concert, but I didn't know that my friend had recorded it. So when he did record it, I asked him for a copy, and I made this cover art myself. I don't know where the front is, but there's the back. That's actually from her show in Chicago, and the sound quality is really good. So every once in a while, I pop this in, listen to it. And I remember when she came to Chicago, it was a couple days after September 11th, 2001. So the terrorist threat was intense at the time, and a lot of major artists were canceling their tours. So when she came to Chicago and started singing, the whole crowd just erupted in just screaming. They were screaming in joy. I was screaming too. It was a really emotional time, and I'd like to thank Björk for coming to Chicago and rocking the house. So this is the XX, and another the XX, and Jamie XX. And that wraps up the genre of rock. So this is the final bin, and this is the 6th and last bin, and in this one the CDs cover the genres of blues, jazz, reggae, world, musicals and classical, and EDM trip hop. So let's go ahead and get into it. And the first CD here is a CD from John Lee Hooker. And this is significant because I purchased this at the Jazz Record Mart in Chicago. I bought this at the location of the Jazz Record Mart that was by the river. And it was an awesome store. Another interesting fact is that John Lee Hooker and I share the same birthday. This is an album called Hooker and Heat, John Lee Hooker and Canned Heat. This is a really dope album. It's a double album. Ben Harper, Fight for Your Mind. Cody Chestnut, The Headphone Masterpiece. And now we're getting into the genre of jazz. Miles Davis, Kind of Blue. Miles Davis, an early classics compilation. Miles Davis, Get Up With It. Miles Davis, Miles in the Sky. Sorcerer. In a Silent Way. Miles and Coltrane. "58 Sessions, Stella by Starlight." John Coltrane, Blue Train. John Coltrane, A Love Supreme. Probably my favorite Coltrane release. The way this record kicks off is, well, it's one of a kind. Ole Coltrane. Now, speaking of John Coltrane, Coltrane's son, Orrin Coltrane, and I, we follow each other on Twitter, and we talk every once in a while. So it's very cool to be able to be in touch with the family of a legend. So shouts to Orrin Coltrane. Thelonious Monk, Monk's Dream. Thelonious Monk, Straight No Chaser soundtrack. Thelonious Monk, Underground. And this, I listened to this a lot when I was young. Thelonious Monk, This Is Jazz 5. Thelonious Monk and Sonny Rollins. Sonny Rollins, A Night at the Village Vanguard. Duke Ellington, Charles Mingus, and Max Roach, Money Jungle. Now this is debatably my favorite jazz record. Mingus cool cover. Pithecanthropus erectus. Ahmad Jamal, The Awakening. This is what Common used for Resurrection. And a lot of other samples as well. The mixing and mastering of this album is so clean. Ahmad Jamal, The Awakening. If you're trying to get into jazz and you don't really want to mess with anything too complex, I highly recommend this and this. If you don't know a lot about jazz music and you'd like to know more, boom. Can't go wrong. Donald Byrd, Blackbird. Donald Byrd, Electric Bird. Donald Byrd, Kofi. Billie Holiday, Billie's Best. Ella Fitzgerald and Billie Holiday at Newport. Anthony Williams, Spring. McCoy Tyner. Modern Jazz Quartet, Three Windows. Bjork Glinklow. This is Bjork's jazz band. I purchased this at the Virgin Music Mega Store, and there is the Virgin sticker. And then on the back it's made in England. This is dope. Bjork singing over a jazz band. This is a Chicago group, Damon Espinosa Trio. This is a really dope album. These guys played at the Hot House when I worked there. Herbie Mann live at the Village Gate. Excellent record. And that finishes up the jazz. Now we're going to get into some reggae. Here's Bob Marley and the Wailers, One Love at Studio One. Bob Marley Talkin' Blues. Peter Tosh, Equal Rights. Peter Tosh, The Toughest. I, Wayne, Lava Ground. King Dan 1 mixtape, Culture for Lovers, all reggae. And another King Dan 1 mixtape. Fela Kuti, Confusion Gentleman. Fela Zombie. And this is some Filipino music right here. Pinoy Blues Jam. And another one that my brother got for me. Les Miserables soundtrack. And now we're getting into electronic music, EDM and trip hop. And well, this genre spans many years, so you might go by different names, but yeah. Kicking this off with classic Massive Attack, Blue Lines. Massive Attack, Mezzanine. Heat. D-Light, World Click. Portishead, Dummy. Portishead. Daft Punk, Homework. Boards of Canada, In a Beautiful Place Out in the Country. Square Pusher, Feed Me Weird Things. Square Pusher, Ultra Visitor. Sangerman, Tourist. Sneaker Pimps Becoming X. For Hero, 2 pages. This is a house mix by Derek Carter, Pagan Offering. If you like house music, this is a good album. Prefuse 73, Vocal Studies and Uprock Narratives. Another Prefuse 73. Hudson Mohawk Butter. Daedalus, Live at Low End Theory. Toki Monster, Midnight Menu. No Such Thing, Drift. James Pants, Welcome. And these are 2 mix CDs by our homie Kip Killigan, Summer Blues, and an untitled one, but these are both really fresh. And that brings us to the end of the CDs. MP3s. During a period of time about 10 years ago, I organized my music collection into MP3s. And ever since then, I've had all these MP3 files on my iTunes. On my local PC, they are on iTunes, and online, they are on Google Play. I have my iTunes and my Google Play synced. So, counting it all up, I have 21,000 songs and 3,000 albums in my MP3 collection. Here, I have a lot of music that is not present in my physical collection. I also have some interesting stories about this. I lived in LA for 11 years, and I learned to use multiple library systems there, including the USC Library, the Los Angeles City Library, and the LA County Library System. If you add all these together, the library system in LA is very vast. And I'm not kidding. Look it up online. For LA City and LA County, there are just so many locations. I mean, it just goes on and on. And each location has CDs. Plus, since I worked at USC, I was able to borrow CDs from their library. So I would often drive around the city and borrow CDs. And also, through these library services, I was able to access such services as Hoopla and Freegal. And these two platforms are highly recommended because they allow you to borrow music and movies. A lot of people don't realize that you can gain access to these types of resources for free through your local library. For example, through the LA City Library, you can gain unlimited readership access to the New York Times. And as far as streaming, some of the major services that I use to listen to music nowadays include YouTube, DatPiff, and Spotify. So, to close out today's episode, I would like to read an excerpt from the Miles Davis autobiography. And this text was very influential to me because it showed me the importance of gigging often to perfect your style. Just like Train's style was his own, and Bird's and Diz's their own, I don't want to sound like nobody but myself. I want to be myself, whatever that is. But in music, I have such feeling for different phrases, and when I'm really enjoying something, it's like I'm one with it. The phrase is me. I play things my way, and then I try to go above it. The hardest tune I ever had to play in my life was I Loves You Porgy, because I had to make the trumpet sound and phrase just like a human voice. I see colors and things when I'm playing. If I hear a song of someone's, I'm always wondering why he put a certain note where he did, and why he did other things the way he did. My sound comes from my high school teacher, Elwood Buchanan. I even loved the way he held his horn. People tell me my sound is like a human voice, and that's what I want it to be.